everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the end of the year book tag, which is a book tag that was created a very long time ago, and hopefully I can find who originally created it if they're still even on BookTube, but I will link some of the earlier ones hopefully if I can't. This is one that BookTube just does every year. It's a staple. It is something that I enjoy watching and seeing how everyone is kind of wrapping up their year in kind of the final quarter and potentially thinking about heading into the new year next year. This is the time of year where I feel like I thrive. I have all of the good ideas, things that I want to read. Everything looks exciting, and it's just really fun to kind of think about, okay, what am I going to be doing toward the end of the year? What do I have coming up? What am I excited about reading? And so this tag just really helps to kind of narrow down those thoughts and make me very excited for the end of the year. So there are a couple of questions. The first one is, are there any books that I started this year that I still need to finish? Normally I am pretty good about finishing books if I start them or DNFing them if I have no intention of continuing them. Other than just the books that I'm currently reading, the only one that I can think of that I've started and still really need to finish is this anthology, The Book of Swords. This one I started when Erin from Booked and Busy and Kayla from Books and Lala did a live show for the Busy Bee Book Club. They read this one a few months ago when I started, and I had every intention of continuing it so that I could make it to the live show, and I got to here before I fell off the wagon. It's just long, and it's a new story every single time, which I have sometimes a hard time with. Some of the stories that I really wasn't loving, and I had so much else that I needed to read at the moment that I was just like, it can wait until later, and it waited till a lot later because I still need to finish it. Will I finish this? I don't know. Potentially. But I need to finish this one. I don't know if I will, but I really need to. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And I am going to be doing a video on this video stops when I find a 5-star, but the trick to it is that I'm only going to read books that give me fall vibes or autumn vibes. And a lot of times when I think of fall, I think of like horror books. Those tend to give me fall vibes. But I also think that sometimes a good fantasy can give you autumnal vibes. For this question, I think I'm going to go with One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. Olivia Blake's writing style just leans vibes and cozy, which makes me think of fall, but she also usually has some really cool ideas. I don't always vibe with her like vibes and cozy, but I usually can appreciate the ideas. I have a couple of people that really enjoyed this one when they read it, and it is about witches that are part of the mob in New York City. And of course, witches too just scream fall to me. So I definitely think that this one is going to be a good like transition into the fall for me. And I'm very excited to see what other books that video cooks up. Then we have, is there a new release you're still waiting for? And oh, is there ever? Everyone is waiting on Iron Flame. We are all waiting for the Rebecca Yarros book to come out. There are a couple of others that I'm still waiting on. One of them is the re-release of The Desert Spear by Peter V. Brett. I'm hoping to read that one here very soon. The re-release of The Empire of Silence, because I just want the like taller paperbacks. That's not really the way to answer this question, but it's the truth. There are a lot of books like in the new year that I'm waiting on, but I feel like I'm not missing... Oh, What Kind of Mother by Clay McCloy Chapman, I'm still waiting on. The Nestings by Nat Cassidy, I am still waiting on. Oh, I actually did think of one more book that I am waiting on to come out. It actually comes out in December, and that's the sequel to The Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. The second book that is a re-release, these were indie and picked up by Orbit, is coming out in December. I think that it has a little bit of changes to it, so it is a different book, and I really liked The Combat Codes, and I'm excited to get to that one in December. So there's a couple of books still toward the end of the year that I am excited for that haven't come out yet. I feel like this is the time of year that everybody starts announcing books for next year. So I definitely have some on my list for next year that I'm like, oh, gimme, but not as many toward the end of the year because I don't know, people just get busy toward the end of the year, and I feel like you don't see as many books coming out after the 1st of November or so. But Iron Flame is at the top of my list. Like I need that book yesterday. Next question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? I have a couple and I'm actually hoping to get to them within this month. That's my goal because Battleathon is for reading books that I'm excited about, and I'm excited about all of these. The first one is The Hawkling by Rebecca Zahabi. This is a sequel that I desperately need to read. Gave The Collar Bound 5 stars and I feel like it's slowly seeping away from my memory. So I really need to read this one so that I can remember it, remember how much I enjoyed it, and prepare for the final book in the series. The Collar Bound follows 2 people. One is learning to be a magician and she is quite young. The other one is pretending to be a slave and is like this, magician's not a good word, but has these powers, and there is a rebellion looming. It's got a really cool just world and magic system that I quite liked, and I'm hoping this one expands the plot a lot. So yeah, definitely wanting to get to this one before the end of the year. I am absolutely dying to get to The Will of the Many by James Islington or Islington before the end of the year. I've read the first chapter of this and loved it, and people that I trust that have similar reading taste to me have loved it, and so I cannot wait to read this. It's inspired by Roman mythology, and it's about a magic system where people's will powers things, I think, from what I read. I know that there's like a labyrinth and a school setting and a competition, and I'm just dying to read this book. I'm hopeful that I can get it in within the next 1 to 2 weeks or so. And the last one for this question I think is going to be Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the final trilogy of Fitz, at least out right now, and I have been avoiding this book. I fell off the wagon of Elder Lingalong when Becca was hosting that one, and I don't really have an excuse as to why I haven't read this yet. For one, most of her books are pain. For 2, they are very, very long. And for 3, like, it finishes a trilogy. That seems just, then there's no more to read, and it's just a lot, okay? So I've been putting this one off, but I really need to read it, finish out that trilogy, finish out The Realm of the Elderlings, because it's been too long and I need to get it done. Next question is there a book you think could still shock you and become a favorite book of the year? As far as shocking me, I really don't know that there's anything that would shock me that I'm planning to read. Maybe an indie? Maybe like I'm going to say maybe an indie, but I don't know which ones of those I'm reading yet because I am planning to read all of the finalists for SPFBO, and I don't know which ones are finalists yet. But I do think it would probably be an indie. Or maybe a fantasy romance. I don't know. I'm bad at this question. Okay, I have one. I do have one. Potentially Sons of Darkness by Gahaf Mahatni. This one is an epic fantasy, and it scares the ever-living crap out of me. It was definitely a 5-star prediction. It's like a Persia-inspired fantasy. However, I read the first chapter, and while I really liked the first chapter, it was extremely intimidating. And so now I'm a little less confident about the 5-star prediction, but I still think that this is going to be really good, and this could surprise me and end up being like a favorite book of the year. I'm hoping that it will be. I have my fingers crossed. And the final question is, have you already started making reading plans? Yes and no. I have my end of the year content that I always put out kind of in the end of December, 1st of January. Things do always bleed into January. So we'll definitely be doing that. I think that I'm going to do another one of BookTube's like favorites that I did last year. I found 10 booktubers that I read one book off of their favorites list from. That took me the entire month of January, so I think that I might do that again. It was a lot of fun. People seemed to really enjoy it, and I found a couple of books that I absolutely loved that I would never have picked up without that video, so I think that I will do that one again. I have a couple of vlogs that have just not really made it into content for this year so far. Like, I haven't really had the time to do it, and so I will let those spill over into the new year. And then I also want to continue my You Read, You Picked, I Read from my shelves, where subscribers will give me a list of comments about books that they think that I should prioritize from all of my unread books, and then I pick 2 to 3 to read in videos. I do want to do another one of those before the year ends, but I do want to continue that series into the new year. So I think those are a couple of videos that I'm thinking of doing, a couple of plans that I have, but I've always got stuff kind of just piling in the back of my brain that I do want to do and continue throughout the next year. Like, there's always stuff that I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking about when would be a good time to do it. So I'm very excited for 2024. So those are all of the questions. That is the end of the year book tag. I am excited to kind of go into this latter half of the year. Things get cooler, things get cozy. It is my time to thrive, and I am very, very excited for it. I have a lot of books that I want to read and not enough time to read them in. Let me know down in the comments what some of your answers to these questions are, especially new releases that you're still waiting for and 3 books that you want to finish before the end of the year. Let me know what those answers are down in the comments below, because I need books. Like, I always need books. Thank you guys so very much for watching and hanging out with me. If you want to just leave me an emoji and let me know that you were here, leave me a leaf emoji, because we're talking about the end of the year. We're talking about cooler weather and fall, so I feel like leaves are just appropriate here. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are all in the description box down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!